Hey out there YouTube, Double D here, Tournage du Bois, welcome back. Today we are going to be revisiting our pen blank molds. I've got some Alumilite Clear Slow, so this has a 12-minute working time as opposed to the 7-minute working time I was working with last time. So we're going to see how this mixes better, see what better things we can do. I did go ahead and turn one of the pins out of the pen blanks that I made. The pen works, it's great. I'm just not really thrilled with the swirling, of course, that I wanted. But I am still pretty happy. It turned out okay, especially for my first pen blanks that I did. I did learn some things in speaking with my good buddy Hugh over at Wouldn't It Be Nice? And I'll put a link to his channel right up here. He suggested painting the tubes that are in the pen to match the color. So if you look really closely, you can see the brass from the tube in the pen blank. So going forward, I will probably be doing that depending on the density and what the pen blank, what the blank is made out of, and we will be going from there. But today we are going to make some more pen blanks. So I've got my mold release that I'll be spraying in here. Today I'm going to try a 3 color mixes. They will all be blue and orange with a touch of white swirling in. At least that's the goal this time. So we're going to be mixing all of our resin in this piece. I'll then pour part of it into this one. So I'll have the blue and the orange in these two. And then in this one I'll pour a little bit of the white, and I'll do some swirling as I pour that in a little bit later on. So we're going to get that going and see how this comes out. Once we get this in the mold, we'll throw it in the pressure pot and get it going from there. And before we get started on the project, just wanted to give some shout outs to a few people. We've done some sticker swaps, so I've sent some stickers to them, they've sent some back. So the first one, Brad over at Brad's Workbench. Big shout out to him. He does some great stuff. He has an abrasive paste that he makes, some tongue wax. So big shout out to Brad. Has been great in chatting with to come up with ideas and give me some pointers as well. The second one, Hodgepodge Woodworks. Great guy, does some really good turning, has a lot of fun with his channel. I'll put links to all their channels down below as well as up here in the corner. And then the third one, Hugh Davies over at Wouldn't It Be Nice? Does some great turning, has some really good projects as well. So he's really good with pens, has done a lot of them. He does a lot of other stuff as well. But he's been giving me a lot of pointers and things on my videos and helping me to improve. So big thank you to all of them as we begin to move forward with these. So like I said, I'll put links to all their info down below, as well as links up to their videos up here. So let's get it going. This has a 12-minute working time, so I've got my timer going. All right, we're at just about 8 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and start combining. This is already looking a lot better than the last one did. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour the white in, and then we're going to use this stick, and we're going to just do a little bit of twisting in it. All right, let's get this in the pressure pot and get it sealed up. All right, we got it up to about 50 psi. We're going to leave that sit in the pot. It says it can demold in about 4 hours, so we will come back a little bit later on, take the pressure off, and see what they look like. Hey, welcome back. It's been just a little over 4 hours. Let's take this out of the pot, see how they look. All right, looking better. All right, we've got some orange with the blue and a little bit of white. The downside is that obviously my pressure pot was not sitting level because it's fuller at one end than at the other, but there's still a good chunk of these that are usable. So again, decent swirling throughout. So much better than last time. So yeah, 4 blanks. Looks like some decent swirling. We'll see more as we get into them though. Probably only about half of these are usable just because of the amount of space. But once again, learning experience, always make sure that everything is level, but part of these are usable, so we will see what we can make out of them. So as we have determined, of course, they are much better. So I definitely like the 12-minute working time. Of course, gives me a little bit more window, but being able to use 3 colors also was nice for a little bit extra stuff. So I will be continuing to improve my technique as we work forward with learning more throughout this process. But super happy compared to the last one. So definitely learning and improving, which is 99.9% of the battle. All right, so today is the next day. We pulled the pin blanks out of the pressure pot last night. Today I'm going to make a pin out of one of them because I think they turned out to be okay. So we're going to take a quick look. We've got our 4 blanks. As you can see, they're not square just because of my pressure pot not being set level when I was casting them. But this one I think is going to work just fine, especially since the pin I'm going to do has a little bit shorter of a part for the tube. So we're going to use this one. We've got a little bit of swirling, so I am interested to see how it's going to look on the inside. but we're going to use this one and we're going to turn a pin. So let's get this one going. All right, so we have our pin blank here. We have our pin kit, which is a bolt action click pin kit. So this will be interesting. We're doing it in a gunmetal color. It only has the one tube piece. So I'm just going to take this on the fattest part of this blank, which is nice because it's going to be perfect size to work out well. We need to use a 3/8 inch drill bit to drill it out. So that's why I wanted to make sure we had it plenty good sized for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up and mark it. Then we'll take it over to our bandsaw and cut it where we need to cut it for our length. And then we will take it over to the drill press and get it going from there. All right, let's get this over and get it glued. All right, so as you can see, it's a little off center. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to go through with plenty of space around it. So this piece is already a little bit roughed up. I'll still hit it just real quickly with my sandpaper just to make sure it's good and rough, and then we will get this glued in. It's just going to slide right into here. There'll be a little bit of room at each end for us to be able to trim that down, make sure that we have the ends nice and perpendicular, and then we will get to going through the process. Okay, I've got a little bit of space at either end, which is perfectly fine because, like I said, what I'll be doing is trimming it down to make sure it's nice and flush across the ends. We'll give that a little bit of time to harden up, and we'll start the next process. Nice and flush again, both ends. Now we can get it over to the mandrel and start turning. All right, so we've got our bushings. The bushings will go in, and basically what that's going to allow us to do, they fit right into those tubes. So then we just cut the blank down to where it's flush with the edge, the outside edge of this bushing, and that's going to be the thickness for all the attachments with the pin. So we've got our first bushing on. Just slide this up, get it to where it fits over good. Put the other one on, then we bring our tailstock up to get everything to line up properly. I want to set it good and tight. That way it won't slip, and we're ready to go. Going to be using the negative rake scraper, and that will cut really good on the resin, so we get a good, clean, smooth finish on that, and it'll leave minimal tool marks. So since it's a pin blank and it's so small, we're going to run this at the highest speed possible. We're going to be running just over right about 3,500 RPM on the speed. We'll do that throughout the cutting process. We'll slow it down to around 700 or so when we start the sanding. Just something I have learned in this process. So if you watch this blank as it turns, every so often you'll get a really shiny reflection as you're going. What that tells me is that's a part that hasn't been cut down, because resin naturally, as you start turning it, is going to have a shiny part to it. So if you look in the reflection, it's there's a shiny part. What that means is there's a part that hasn't been hit. So if you look along here, there's nothing here. It's all been cut down, and this part here is very shiny because it hasn't been cut yet. So as you're watching it while you're turning, when you see that shiny part, then you know that part hasn't been cut down. So you see that here as well as we narrow it down, and a lot of that's because the blank was offset with how it ended up being poured. So that's just something as you're turning, for those of you who are a little bit newer or are learning this as you go like I am, that's something you'll see as that shiny part. The other thing is what I call a visual echo. So as I watch things as I turn, at the very top edge, there's part where you see the wood, obviously, and then there's part that you can see through. So I refer to that myself as the visual echo. So as I'm turning something, I know it's not in the round if I can still see that portion. So as you watch the corners, you'll see a part where it's like it's flickering. So you can see the background, but it's not as clear as everything else. And that's what I refer to as the visual echo. So we will jump back in and get this turning, but I am super excited with how this swirling is looking so far. So I've used my round carbide tip. That gets most of the shaping done. Now I'll go to my square tip, so that'll get it smoothed up a little bit. There's a little bit of texture going from end to end, just because of the way that the round carbide cuts. So we'll smooth that up, then we'll be able to get into sanding. All right, so we got that taken care of. It's smoothed out pretty good. A little bit of texture, but that'll resolve itself with the sanding. Really am excited about that. So we're going to start the sanding process on this. I'm going to start out at 120 grit on the sandpaper, so we'll sand it up to about, probably shoot for 400, might stop before that depending. And then we'll jump into the micro mesh to get it all finished up and all the marks out. So we will catch back up when the sanding is done and we're ready to start assembling. What I'll typically do in between sanding is I'll take the sandpaper and I'll run lengthwise, and that starts buffing out some of these sanding marks as we go. I'm going to hit it with a little denatured alcohol just to clean it up a little so we can see what we're working with. That is nice. I'm super excited. My first pen blank that I poured that I'm really, really happy with. So now we're going to work through the micro meshes. So each one is color coded. They start out at 1500 grit and work all the way up to 12,000 grit. So we're just going to run through these real quick and we'll catch back up in a minute. only move the micro mesh around as you go. One, because it's going to keep the works from being around, also be able to all that out. The other thing is because it's adding some warm, so it's going to add some moisture, and you don't put it into too hot against the resin, because that will cause issues. And of course, we're spending more time with the lower values with the more coarse. Once we spend more time with those, we're going to go to a little bit less time with each. When we go over the 12,000 width, then you're going to see a big difference into it. Really, really nice. Super happy with how that turned out. So let's get off here and do the resin assembly. Alright, so this is a pin kit I have not done before, so this is going to be new for me as well. So not only my own pin blanks that I cast, but a new pin. So we're going to take the first end, and we're going to pick an end as to where we want it to go. So I'm kind of liking that direction. So now we want to put this on the back end, and I think I'm going to have that run right down the blue. Kind of like the look of that. A nice tight fit all the way around. So then we want to just take the tip off. Put the ink in. And we're going to put the tip right back on. We've got our pen. Slides down and locks in, so it can now write. It's bolt action, so you just do that, and it goes right back in. Make a good pen for a hunter or a gun enthusiast. It's got good colors, I really enjoy that. I'm super happy with how the blank turned out. So that kind of wraps up everything. So we've made our second set of pen blanks. They turned out a lot better than the first, obviously, because I had more working time with them. Put together a new pen kit, cut the blank down. I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. So I'll keep on doing these. I'm really enjoying this. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Just go down to the bottom here and click on the subscribe button. Click the little bell icon. You'll get notifications for any time a new video is uploaded, which I try to do weekly. Give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down, depending on your thoughts. Please leave feedback. Any comments, I appreciate it, as I'm still, like I said, new to this process. I'm learning. And I continue to grow. I'm really excited about this. I'm super happy with how it looks. And we will keep on putting out more stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll have pictures at the end, and we'll catch you next week.